Hey, my name is Nate Savage, and in this intermediate guitar lesson, I'm going to teach you a simple concept that's going to help you double your fretboard coverage. This is going to be great for both your rhythm and lead guitar playing. For your rhythm guitar playing, it's going to help you get beyond playing, some basic bar chords and playing other chord shapes up the neck. For your lead guitar playing, it's going to help you get past the typical 6-string root note major scales like this one. And this one, the 3-note per string one. At the end of this lesson, I have a jam track for you that's going to help you apply the rhythm and lead concepts that we're going to go over here, and that'll make practicing this stuff more fun for you. The first thing that we need to go over to get this concept down that I'm going to teach you to double your fretboard coverage is the idea of chord movability. And the best way to kind of explain this to you is to use the concept of your bar chords. Now, if you've been playing guitar for any amount of time, if you're an intermediate guitar player, you probably know your bar chords. Using an E shape, like an open E shape, to play a G chord, right? And then an open A shape, you can use that to play an A-shaped bar chord, playing a G, right? Same thing. Now, the important thing here is that you realize that you can do this with other chords too, not just your E and your A shape. You can do this with a G, you can do this with a C chord, and you can do this with a D chord too. Now, the next step in explaining this concept of doubling your fretboard coverage is to be able to move this D chord around and kind of make a bar chord out of it too. So if you have your open D chord here, that's nothing new for you if you've been playing guitar for a while. What you can do is move that around and make a bar chord out of it, just like you did with your A and your E shapes. If you want to play a G chord using your D shape, what you can do is find a G note on the 4th string of the D string, and that'll be your lowest root note, or like where your open D string would be, right? And you're just going to move that up. Now you're playing a G chord using the D shape. Now, when you're doing this, it's important that you know the notes on the fretboard, right? So you can visualize the root notes, which right here is with your first finger on the 5th fret of the D, and your pinky has a root note right here on the 8th fret of the B string. Those are both G notes, or the root notes of our G chord. Now, when you're playing this, a lot of times people will use this as a power chord, just like this power chord, or this power chord. Same exact thing. It's just a little bit different shape. Your pinky has to move up 1 fret because of the tuning when it comes to the B string. And a lot of times when you're using this shape as well, what people will do instead of playing the whole shape, because it's kind of a stretch, they'll just use the top 3 strings. And when you do that, the note on your B string, this G right here on the 8th fret, becomes kind of your point of reference or your root note for that chord. So what you're going to want to do is work on moving this shape around, whether it's the full shape or just the 3-note shape. Work on moving it around anywhere you want to. Like this is an F, because my root notes automatically move to an F. This is an E. Just work on moving it all around the fretboard. If I want to play a C, I can go all the way up here to my root note here with my 3rd finger is on the 13th fret of the B string. That's a C. Here's an A. Other shape, still an A. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, Nate, how does that help me play the guitar better? Well, a lot of people get stuck in the rut of when they're playing like a 1-4-5 progression in the key of G, they'll use bar chords like this. Right? Or they'll use open chords. When you start to get this D shape under your fingers, what it does is it opens the door not only to work your way up the neck, up the fretboard, but it also allows you some different voicing, some different tonal varieties to choose from when you're playing chords. So instead of playing this, which has a lot of low notes in it, you could play this G right here, or even just the top 3 strings. Because when you're playing in a band setting where there's already a bass or a keyboard player or even another guitar player, you might want to play a little bit higher voicings for some chords. So, just to make the overall band sound better. So instead of this, G, C, D, C, G. You could have this, play your G up here. So let's take a look at this first rhythm exercise. What we're basically going to do is just play this G shape, the D shape. And you can either play the full version or just leave that lowered out. It's really up to you. You can play that for a whole note. Really work on visualizing where the root notes are right here. Then you're going to move to this C chord for a whole note. And then a D chord. This D chord is an A-shaped bar chord for a whole note too. And just work on getting that change down. So we've gone from being able to cover, around the third or open chords, third fret, all the way up to being able to go to about the 8th fret there. So that's one way to kind of double your fretboard coverage as far as rhythm guitar goes. Now, you can do the exact same thing as far as this chord shape goes. And you can just work your way up to fretboard with this. You can play, a whole measure of G here. And then to play C chord, find a C note on the B string, which is there on the 13th fret. That's the C chord. And then a D would be a whole step above that. So the 15th fret on the B. And again, you can have that low root note in there if you want. But practice that progression too. So G, C, D. And all of a sudden we're up here on the 15th fret playing that progression. Now let's take a look at how you can use this exact same concept to double your fretboard coverage for lead guitar. Now, most guitar players know a 6-string root note major scale, right? Either this one right here, that's like the more traditional jazzy one, and then the more rocky 3-note per string one. You might know this one too. Now, before we get into doubling our fretboard coverage, I just want to let you know that it's important to see the chord shapes within the scales that you're using. So, if we have this G chord using the E bar chord shape, that's the chord shape that you're going to associate with these major scales that we just went over. So you have this chord shape. In order to be able to visualize that in the root notes, as you play through that scale. Same thing with the 3-note per string one. Once you have that down, you can apply the exact same concept we had with our movable D-shaped chord and use that exact same shape to visualize that exact same scale up the next octave. So if you have this chord shape, you're going to take that 3-note per string to start with, G major scale, and play that exact same shape while visualizing this chord, this D-shaped G major chord, and play the exact same thing, exact same shape. When you get to the B string, you have to compensate for the tuning a little bit and come up one more fret than you normally would. But other than that, it's the exact same shape again. So watch this. And then come up here to this D shape, visualize that chord and play the exact same thing. Compensate when you get to the B. And all of a sudden, you're breaking out of this box of being stuck down here in the 5th or 8th fret, right, with these scales, and all the way up to the 10th fret. And back down if you want. So practice that one scale if that's new to you, the G major one. 6-string root note. Work on visualizing that chord inside there, and then do the same thing for the next one up. And you already know the shape. You just have to visualize that chord within it and just compensate for the tuning on the B string, like I said, once you get to it. To help you really grasp this and take it to the next level, let's take this major scale and move it to an A location. So if you have your A bar chord, E shape, you can do the exact same thing. Take either one of those scale shapes, Then go up to the next chord position, this A, because this is an A right here on the 7th fret of the D string, using a D shape. Visualize that chord as you play that exact same scale shape. Now, to help you apply these concepts that we've gone over in this lesson, what I wanted to do is give you a jam track. It's a simple G, C, D chord progression. And if you want to work on your rhythm guitar playing and working with this new voicing, this D-shaped voicing right there, what you can do is just play through a simple G, C, D progression using different combinations of these shapes, right? You can use your open chords, you can use your bar chords, you can use the new shape we talked about, or you can use it all the way up the fretboard, right? So just put it on and experiment with moving the shape around until you can start to visualize these chord shapes and where they fall. Now, if you're wanting to pursue lead guitar more, what you want to do is put this jam track on and just work on moving between, your 6-string root note scale that we went over and connecting that next scale shape up. So. Let me give you some quick examples of how you can use this jam track to work on your rhythm and lead guitar playing. That's it for this lesson. I hope it's unlocked some new areas of the fretboard for you. Now, it may take you a while to incorporate these ideas and get them down, but trust me, if you put in the time, it's going to really pay off for your rhythm and lead guitar playing and help you navigate the fretboard a lot better. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more lessons like this, just click the like button on the video or leave a comment below to let me know. I just finished a brand new free guitar lesson series that you can get right now if you go to guitarlessons.com/free-series. I'll see you there.